Lesson 3. The Birthmark. Science had always been Aylmer's first love, but he decided it was time to put aside his experiments and marry. Soon, he found Georgiana, a nearly perfect bride. Despite her beauty and grace, there was one detail he couldn't ignore. It was a small, red, hand-shaped birthmark on her left cheek.
One night, Aylmer dreamed of removing this imperfection. In his dream, he tried desperately to get rid of it with a knife. However, the deeper the knife went, the deeper the mark sank. At the end, the mark looked like a little hand that held Georgiana's heart. Georgiana heard her husband's cries, so the next day, she asked him whether he had had a nightmare. Reluctantly, Aylmer described what had happened in his terrible dream. Georgiana didn't want her imperfection to keep bothering her husband, so she encouraged him to use his knowledge to remove it.
The following day, Aylmer opened the doors of his laboratory to his wife. As soon as Georgiana entered, she felt cold and shivered. Aylmer drew closer to check on her, but was shocked by the sudden glow of the birthmark. At that moment, Georgiana fainted. Aylmer was deeply worried and tended to her until she came around. From then on, the couple secluded themselves in the laboratory. When Aylmer was busy with his experiments in the inner room, Georgia would look through his scientific journals. During these moments, Georgiana saw Aylmer's frustration with his unsuccessful experiments, and she loved him all the more for his stubborn determination.
One day, when Aylmer went to the inner room to work, Georgiana felt a strange urge to follow him. Carefully, she entered the room for the first time. When Aylmer saw Georgiana, he flew into a rage. For one thing, he needed all his concentration to prepare such a powerful potion. For another, he questioned whether Georgiana trusted him. In tears, Georgiana explained that she certainly believed he could make the mark disappear forever. Her sincerity led him to confess that he had long subjected her to certain treatments, all without success. In his hand, however, he held a formula that he believed could not fail.
To prove its power, Aylmer poured this mixture onto a diseased plant, miraculously restoring it to health. Georgiana then drank the same potion and quickly fell asleep. When she slept, Aylmer was more than glad to see the birthmark start to fade. As he admired his work, he became filled with pleasure and pride.
His happiness sadly did not last. Though the mark was hardly visible when Georgiana woke up, her face had turned sickly pale. She felt her life slipping away and told Aylmer that she was dying. He watched the final trace of Georgiana's birthmark fade. With its disappearance, she took her last breath and departed the world. Aylmer was all alone, feeling a heavy weight of deep regret in his heart.